Good afternoon, one and all. I welcome you all to my technical seminar presentation. I welcome my guide, Professor Victor, and my co-evaluators, Dr. Lokesh and Pratap MS, and all the students of MIT Computer Science Department. My name is Prithviraj GD from Batch 12. So my topic is corneal implant design using deep learning. So coming to the content, this is the content. So I'll be starting with the introduction, then going on to the literature survey, then the methodology and the application and the comparison and real-time case studies and the advantages and drawbacks and the result analysis and the conclusion and future scope and references. And so what is corneal implant? So these are plate type medical devices that differ by their size and configuration that are used in corneoplasty to mainly correct the corneal defects. And the main goal is to prevent further injuries. As you know, the brain is made up of very soft tissue, and brain is the main functional unit of any human body. So brain, any small accident to the brain will immensely affect the functionality of that human person and his future also. So and even some, not only accidents, some diseases will also cause will also cause the surgeons to do the operation. Such some diseases are brain tumor, corneal tumor. These are brain cancer, so-called brain cancer. So it, so which leads to mass growth of abnormal cell in the brain. So it leads to surgery, then leading to corneoplasty. And another disease is ischemic disease. It is mainly occur when there is enough flow to the brain to meet the metabolism demand, in turn which leads to limited oxygen supply, and which lead to death of brain tissue and thus causing a surgeon to operate the brain. And another disease is hemographic. It is mainly caused due to the high blood pressure created inside the brain. So the surgeon operates to release the pressure created inside the brain by the blood. So which all leads to corneal implant design. So let's see how deep learning is used in corneal implant. So mainly corneal implant is used to generate the implant design automatically. So these include mainly two steps. That is in autoencoder, two steps are used, that is encoder and decoder. The encoder learns how to interrupt the input and compress into an internal representation defined by the bottleneck layer. The decoder takes the output of the encoder and attempts to recreate the input. Since the model have been which they have treated, they're using mainly probability dense feature. That is, in a model, the images are trained in which they assign the highest probability value to the skull of the human. So the model will generate or predict where there is a less probability value. Thus, from the training model, it will be able to generate the new example, which will be similar to the original data set. And coming to the literature survey part. So I'm the first paper which I've referred is multimodal shape completion via conditional generative adversarial network, published in the year 2020 by Randy Wurm. So in this paper, they were able to propose a multi-model shape completion problem in which they were able to seek a complete partial shape with a multiple outputs by learning a one-to-many mapping. And the next paper is 3D MRI brain tumor segmentation using autoencoder regularization, published in the year 2019 by Andre Marcano. So in this paper, the author specifies a semantic segmentation network for tumor subregion segmentation from 3D MRI based on encoder and decoder architecture. Next paper is shape completion using 3D encoder predictor, CNN, and shape synthesis, published in the year 2018 by Angela Dry. So in this paper, the author was able to discuss a data-driven approach to complete the partial 3D shapes through a combination of volumetric deep neural networks and 3D shape synthesis. And the last paper which our study is fully convolutional network for semantic segmentation, published in the year 2018 by Jonathan Log. So in this paper, they were able to build a fully convolutional network that takes input of arbitrary size and produce correspondingly size output with efficiently inferring and learning. And before going to methodology, I want to explain the autoencoder and decoder architecture. So in this, autoencoder are specific type of feed-forward neural network which takes the input as the output. They are mainly dimensional reduction algorithm. Main properties of them are data specific and unsupervised. Coming to the architecture, both encoder and decoder are fully connected feed-forward neural network. Code is a single layer of ANN. With the dimensionality of one class, the number of nodes in code layer is hyperparametric that we need to set before training the autoencoder. First, the input passes through the encoder, which is a fully connected ANN, to produce the code. The decoder, which has similar ANN structure, then produces the output using the code. So in this, the code will be identical to the input, and the output image will be mirrored. The main requisites of the input and output are images are the dimensionality of the both the input and output image should be same. So in this, denoising should be done. That is done by reducing the pixels. Then the visualization should be done. So in this, we will be able to reconstruct the noise-free image. To conclude, the autoencoder is a very useful dimensionality reduction technique. And coming to the main methodology, so they proposed to combine an encoder decoder architecture with variational autoencoder for corneal implant reconstruction. Specifically, they first pre-train a VA model to learn the latent distribution of complete skull. Then they incorporate the encoder part of the VA with the encoder decoder network to predict the complete skull. The corneal implant can be obtained by subtracting the input defective skull from the output complete skull. The motivation behind the method is that VAE or variational autoencoder can map the shape and anatomical structure of the complete skull into compact feature representation, and thus we can utilize the VA encoder in additional regularization term to guide the encoder decoder network to produce anatomical possible skulls. So in summary, their step mainly include VA pre-training and complete skull generation. Coming to the VA pre-training, that is variational autoencoder pre-training. They have trained a VA model on complete skull generation by taking the complete skull as CX and Gaussian probability as Q delta ZX and a latent variable of them as Q delta ZX, which is further fed into the decoder part. Then coming to the complete skull generation, in which they can be seen as a volumetric shape task for anyone. So volumetric shape completion can be achieved by using 3D encoder decoder network that have been adopted in medical image segmentation tasks. So in this work, they have actually used UNet based model and RDUNet. So RDUNet I'll be explaining in the next slide. So RDNet was mainly used because it improves the super resolution performance of the MRI acquisition. So coming to the next architecture of RDUNet. So for RDUNet, 6 RDBs are used for downsampling and RDB for downsampling and six groups of deconvolution plus RDBs are used for upsampling. They have set the channel of RDBs to 32. So during downsample, the image resolution was 128 by 128 into 64, and to upsample, the size was 512 to 512 into Z. So downsampling is used mainly to reduce the spatial resolution while keeping the 2D representation same, and upsampling is mainly used to increase the spatial resolution while keeping the 2D representation of the image. And coming to the application, corneal implant are useful tools for reforming and improving the deformity of the skull. Patients who suffer from deformity of the skull due to genetic disorder, tumor, can use corneal implant. Skull reconstruction not only includes bone defect but also muscle fat, skin defects, and to establish a more normal structure and appearance. And comparison, as you can see, the red part is the skull and the gray part is the corneal implant design. So this the first row is consists of the proposed model, that is autoencoder and decoder, and second, third, fourth, and fifth are about the uh, designs generated by RDUNet unit. As you can see, there are some inconsistency caused, which will mainly affect the human body and the brain. So the author says that the autoencoder method predicts a best design uh, uh, without any inaccuracy. And real-time case study, as you can see, the red part is the skull and the gray is the implant generated by the autoencoder decoder. So which best fits without any inconsistency. And coming to the advantages, they are high strength, so implant can be made of a very thin size and excellent biocompatibility, since the corneal implant is made up of an external means like a steel object. They should be able to compatible with the skull and the brain, and no bacterial activity should be able to take place on it, and they improve the aesthetic looks and reduce the operation time, since the design is and all done in the lab and easy to use. Coming to the drawback, contradictions for cardioplasty are presence of hydrocephalus infection and brain swelling. So hydrocephalus is a condition in which accumulation of cerebrospinal fluid occurs within the brain. This particularly increases the pressure inside the skull. So coming to the result analysis, so in this the author were able the metrics used for evaluation was dissimilarity score and symmetric handoff distance. So they compared the model with two baseline model, that is RDUNet in unit. So in that first table, you can see that the RDUNet box outperform unit by 0.038 and for DSC, and for HD by 0.5408. So the proposed model, that is autoencoder and decoder, significantly is better than the RDUNet. So which validates the effectiveness of the proposed shape regularization model. So in the table 2, you can see that the proposed method, that is RDUNet the autoencoder and decoder method, outperforms again in the DSC and mean HD. So we can say that the autoencoder and decoder method is best suitable for generation of cranial implant. Coming to the conclusion, they have introduced a deep learning method for fully connected automatical implant generation. The proposed method mainly included two steps, that is variational autoencoder model, which was trained to latent distribution of the complete skull, then the encoder part of the pre-trained VR together with a encoder decoder network, which was trained to generate complete skull. Coming to the future scope, in the future scope, they will implement data augmentation to improve generalization ability on the skull with various shape, size, and position. They will try to incorporate shape constraints in an end-to-end framework instead of pre-training a VA model. Further, a licensed CNN model will be designed for cardioplasty. So these are the reference which I have used from my technical seminar presentation. Thank you all. Any questions? You can go ahead. Victor.
HOD sir, are you there? Dr. Lokesh sir. Pratap sir.
Sorry, you start with the questions. I'll
No,
join.
sir, no. I want you all to ask, then I will summarize, sir.
No. You just start, sir. I'll do
Okay.
it afterwards.
Okay, sir. HOD sir is not here, I guess. Yes.
No, sir.
I think
today is not
yes.
attending any of the meetings.
Okay, fine. Okay. He should have been here. Okay, thank you. Yes. So my first thing is this. Okay, since there are, again, first thing, I think you are very fast. You presented like me, huh? Okay. So you are so fast. I am pretty sure about that. Anyway, so the first question is this: why do we actually use deep learning? Don't we have a kind of a traditional approach to this cranioplasty? I know your topic is purely deep learning. I know your topic is purely on deep learning. But before that, you know, if traditional approach can work, because here you never spoke about the size.
Sir, because
okay.
Actually, the present for the cranial implant is like this, sir. So actually, if someone is having a skull is broken, he'll first consult the orthopedician, sir. Then the orthopedician will take the size measurements with MRI scanning and not CT scan, MRI for brain, and then he'll consult the company people who provides the cranial implant. So in that they have a specified machine, sir. I don't know the name. So
okay,
will generate the I think generate the implant, sir. I think that.
Okay. Yeah, I got your point. See, because since you never addressed the size of your data sets, right?
Okay,
there was no mention of
110. In the result, I forgot to say. I have mentioned over.
Okay. And where did you get that from? Yes. And
from the paper, first reference paper, sir. This one.
Okay.
Using.
Okay. My next question is: see, apart from go to the challenge drawbacks, go to the drawbacks.
Sir.
So in the paper, did they address only one drawbacks?
No, sir. They have not addressed any drawbacks, sir. This was general about cranial implants, sir. In the paper, they have never spoken morely about the advantages and disadvantages. They have just said about the implant design and how it can be. It is better than other methods, sir.
So, because my question is, if you see here, we can see here that there are contradictions for cranioplasty at the presence of hydro, whatever, cephalus. Okay, which are talking about the CSF. But,
Yes, sir.
but the question here, yes, see, there might be some risk associated with cranioplasty.
Yes, sir. Since
Okay,
it is very close to the brain,
yes.
very minute mistakes also will lead to very bad circumstances. Since a small part of the brain is touched with a sharp object, it will lead to some memory loss or function disability
Okay.
of some parts of the body, sir.
Okay, fine. Because see, a simple Google search will tell you that, see, first thing, that's what you address is infection, okay, about swelling and stuff. Okay, yes. Another one, like you said about seizure or something, like you said, they will lead to maybe seizure, stroke, and clots, and complications also. Yes, okay, so that's, I think you should address it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, because when you talk of the merits, okay, you can call it like most of the risk associated with cranioplasty, okay? And again, since what happens after the reconstruction, it did not fit. I know definitely they have to consult what do you call them?
Maybe representatives of the company, sir.
Okay.
They are called reps, where doctors consult
fine.
them and
Okay. That is from my side. Over to Dr. Lakesh, sir.
So you're told something called deep learning and all. You discussed regarding deep learning, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me once again?
So, sir, first, okay. So, as you can see here, this is a 3D MRI image, sir, which any doctor nowadays takes for the reconstruction. So, before that, we need to train any model, sir, in image segmentation. So, first they are training the model. So, in this auto encoder decoder, the image input will be same as the output, sir. So, using highest probability dense function, where since you can see in this second one, there's some gap. So there's an it is a damaged skull, sir. So using complete corneal implant generation, which using RDUNet and the algorithm which I had explained, it will be able to means the using references, and we'll have been trained the model prior only, so we'll be able to generate the complete skulls.
What about the accuracy about generating the things?
Yes, sir. I had said in the result, as you can see that the mean DSM, that is dissimilarity score and order of distance. As you can see, for proposed method, that is autoencoder and decoder method, they were able to get a good accuracy, sir. Better than they had compared with UNet and RDUNet.
So, is there any existing machines are available for or any?
Yes, sir.
Machines are available for.
So those are done with. Sir, machines. I think I'm not so sure about them. Those are with medical implant generating companies will be there now, sir. For orthopedicians, they'll have some link with them.
No, I'm talking about like any machines. You are talking about the technology adopted in the machines. Can you name the machine which is already available machines? For example, for a CT scan, one machines are there. Similarly, yes, to generate this predicting, any machines are there. Can you name that?
Sir, machine name and all I don't know, sir. Since
in the related works, they have not mentioned.
No, sir. I think about this. Sir, actually, they have means the research about this field is means papers which I got was very less.
That's it. It's very rare field.
Yes,
no one will touch about the skull implementations. Yes. But any for this is a tool actually they were used for predicting the shape of the skull.
Yes,
so any that machine have you seen when you're seeing the so many papers, the name of a machine?
Sir,
that company can manufacture.
So Siemens is one company, sir, which produces. Hello.
So you don't know the name of the machine.
No, sir.
So from my side, I have done. Okay, you can go ahead for the next, sir. Sir Victor, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you
We'll
so
wind
much,
up
sir.
and we'll
Sir,
go
I'll
for
share
the
you
next,
the next link, sir. Sir.
Okay,
just
sure.
one second.
Before we wind up, students, I don't understand what is happening. So most of you are scared to ask questions, or simply you just log in and sit there. I remember during my time only, if somebody is presenting, we have to like literally squeeze the thing out of the guy. We have to like make sure they answer each and everything. There might be some things which we missed out, which you guys can actually tell, right? I mean, when you make it an interactive class, it becomes more engaging. I don't know, guys, this is not the way.